Hey everybody, David here, and today I'm going to do a how to watch video. I've done plenty of them in the past, and they seem to be some of my higher viewed videos. So I have a new one that I can do today. It's the Terminator franchise. And why do I do these videos? Well, because sometimes I do have a cousin or two or friend or two even, that asks me, hey David, how would you recommend to watch these movies in this specific order? Because there's so many of them and I don't even know where to start. Well, today's movies are the Terminator movies, and thankfully there's not that many, and thankfully you can even cut some of them out if you really want to. Yes, this is because of Terminator Dark Fate coming out this weekend, and I'm going to tell you how you can prep before you go and see the current movie. Thankfully with Dark Fate there's not really that many because, I'm going to be honest with you, I'll start with this one right at the top. Dark Fate, you only need to watch Terminator 1, which was called The Terminator, it came out back in 1984, and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which came out in 1991. Both of these films were directed by James Cameron. Dark Fate is produced by James Cameron, but it's directed by Tim Miller, who directed the first Deadpool film. So, yes, this movie cuts out everything else that came in between the second film and this current film. It cuts out everything. Nothing. You don't have to see any of the other ones. But just in case you do, because I like going back and exploring the history of these franchises. Because if you're a fan of them, you should be interested in seeing what came before, to see what the evolution was of these films. Now, a lot of people will say everything that came after Terminator 2 was crap. As a matter of fact, Dark Fate seems to be the first movie since Terminator 2 to be getting really good reviews. People seem to be really excited about this new one, so it's something to be excited about. If you don't want to bother with the other ones, that's fine. Those are the two movies you have to prep for in order to to check this one out. You don't have to, from what I'm hearing. You can watch this new Dark Fate movie without having to watch any of the previous Terminators, but if you want, the first two are the ones that matter the most for all of these timelines that I'm going to be talking about. So the next one is the previous Terminator movie timeline, which, of course, started with Terminator 1, from the Terminator from 1984, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, which came out in 1991. Then you have Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, which came out in 2003. Then you have Terminator Salvation, which came out in 2009. And finally, Terminator Genesis, which I believe came out in 2015. So those are the previous Terminator movies. Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis. Now, some people will say, well, Terminator Genesis kind of had a slightly different origin on how John Connor found Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese is... Well, I'm not going to spoil that just in case there's anybody that never seen a Terminator movie before. But he's a very important character to the franchise. And he actually makes his introduction in Terminator 1. But in Terminator Salvation and Genesis, he returns once again. I'll just say this. The way they show how John Connor and Kyle Reese meet in Terminator Genesis is very different from how they meet in Terminator Salvation. But I look at that as... I think it's a little minor to that movie that you can kind of ignore it and say, fine. It's something similar, but it's altering it a bit. And I don't think they needed to do that, but I think the reason they did is because Christian Bale played John Connor in Terminator Salvation, and he was supposed to come back for Terminator Genesis, but they couldn't get him back. He declined, and instead they cast Jason Clarke in the role. But I think other than the beginning, the first couple minutes, I think the rest of the movie fits fine with Terminator Salvation from where it last took place, because by that point the war with the machines has already begun, and this is just kind of continuing that in essence, just kind of ignoring some things that happen in Salvation. But for the most part, yeah, I think those 5 films are fine together. But then with Dark Fate, it starts an all-new clean slate. Now, there is still a third timeline that some people might have forgotten about, except for the hardcore fans. Once again, it involves Terminator from 1984, Terminator 2 from 1991, Judgment Day. And then finally, there was a TV series, which I think started in 2007 or 2008, called Terminator the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Now, this series lasted only 2 seasons. The first season was really short. I think it was like 5 or 6 episodes. I can't remember right now. And then the second season, they extended it a little bit more to, I think, 20 episodes. But it is a fan favorite series. Die-hard Terminator fans really love it and were really pissed off when it was canceled. Some people, like myself, believe it was canceled because Salvation was coming out and they didn't want a conflicting Terminator series to be on while they were continuing the movies. And maybe it makes sense that way if you look at it. But yes, Terminator Salvation is definitely one if you just want to discover something new that, oh, wow, I didn't know this existed. Yeah, this series takes place where after Terminator 2 left off. It still has John Connor as being a part of the story, but Lena Headey, who played Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones, she plays Sarah Connor in the TV show, and she's badass as that character, just like Linda Hamilton was. And funny enough, her co-star Emilia Clarke would go on to play Sarah Connor in Terminator Genisys. So you get 2 Game of Thrones actors playing 2 different Sarah Connors. With that being said, that's it, guys. Those are the 3 different ways you can watch the Terminator franchise. All of them obviously have to have the first 2 films. Those are the pinnacle films in the franchise, and then everything else are just like little add-ons, if you want, or think of them all as like alternate timelines. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's really cool. I like time travel. I don't mind any direction. A lot of people bash on the sequels that came after Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I'm going to be honest, I enjoy them all, so I think they're all worth checking out. To each their own. With that being said, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was useful to you, especially if you're someone that hasn't seen any of these Terminator movies, but you want to because you think Terminator Dark Fate looks cool, and from what I'm hearing, it is cool. So with that being said, until next time, take care.